My name is Mr. Achievement, and I'm racing against you. My mission is to get 50 PS3 Platinum trophies before I hit 5,000 subscribers. But if I fail, I'll be branded for life with a Platinum trophy tattoo. You heard that right, so will I make history or wear my failure forever? The journey starts here. Hit subscribe and let's find out together if I can get 50 Platinums before 5,000 subscribers.
It finally happened. I earned the Platinum trophy in a Harry Potter game that tried really hard to be Call of Duty, but ended up being more like Call of Boredom. That's right, Deathly Hallows Part 1 on the PlayStation 3. The game where Hogwarts is replaced with cover mechanics, and the magic system is basically press R2 and pray. This is not a tale of magic, this is a tale of misery. This is the Deathly Hallows Part 1 Platinum journey. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because from now on the next PS3 game will be chosen by a mystery wheel.
Okay, what's gonna be the next game on Mystery Achievement? Shuffle it.
Stick to the end to know what game the wheel chooses next. Follow me on my journey to psychological damage and let me know what platinum you have gotten recently. Let's begin with this Harry Potter game that is the 10th PS3 platinum of the challenge. So I boot up the game and I'm immediately on the back of Hagrid's flying motorcycle, screaming through the sky like I just lit fireworks in my pants. The game throws me into this cinematic chase that thinks it's being intense, but it's like watching two Roombas fight to the death. You don't actually do anything meaningful here. You mostly waggle your wand like a malfunctioning laser pointer while the bike does its own thing. Eventually, you crash into the burrow because apparently Hagrid doesn't believe in brakes. Boom, first trophy. No skill, no effort. Just show up, crash your magical Uber, and the game pats you on the head like, well done. Harry, you didn't die during the loading screen. But it's a trap. This trophy gives you hope. Maybe this won't be so bad, you whisper to yourself. Oh, you poor fool. 8 minutes later, I stumble into the challenge mode. Now, I don't know if EA expected people to be competitively grinding this game, but spoiler alert, nobody is comparing Deathly Hallows leaderboards in 2025. So I fire off some challenge, probably involving shooting waves of generic masked enemies behind some wooden crates. I mash spells, spam Protego like I'm doing interpretive dance, and finally post a score online, and just like that, another trophy pops. Let me be clear, this is a game where posting to the online leaderboard in a dead server ecosystem in 2025 still counts as progress. It's like winning a medal in a one-man race. Sure, you're technically winning, but you're also alone in a field yelling, "Look at me," at passing clouds. Still, trophy number 2 is locked in. Let's move on before my sense of dignity loads in. The wedding scene. In the movie, it's a poignant, magical moment that turns chaotic. In the game, it's a glorified duck and cover exercise. Literally every encounter turns into Call of Duty, wand warfare. Death Eaters crash the party, and naturally, Harry solves this the way every teenager would, by rolling from crate to crate like he's been through Navy SEAL training. You spend most of the mission hiding behind objects that somehow block spells, even though they're made of hay bales and nostalgia. Occasionally, you'll peek out, toss a stoop file like a Molotov cocktail, and duck again. Repeat until your thumb goes numb. The game wants you to feel tension. But honestly, the scariest part is the camera. It shakes like it's possessed by a poltergeist with epilepsy, and by the time I finished the segment, I had motion sickness and trust issues. Still, the wedding is survived, and the game hands you a trophy like, "Congrats, you made it through the tutorial with your retinas intact." That's 3 down and 30 plus to go. We're now in a muggle cafe sipping on what I assume is the most bitter light tea in London. Harry and Hermione are just trying to vibe when suddenly bam, Death Eaters. Because apparently even Starbucks isn't safe from wizard terrorism. What follows is another scripted shootout. Take cover, stun the goons, heal yourself with potions that taste like regret. Standard procedure at this point. But here's the kicker. The enemies don't really rush you. They kind of lurk, like they're shy about fighting. Or maybe the AI just finished reading Twilight and is now emotionally conflicted. Either way, this whole scape is more like a slow walk through mediocrity. You blast your way out, Hermione says something vague like, "That was close," and ding, a bronze trophy. The cafe blows up, but not before delivering another steaming shout of gameplay blandness. Honestly, the only thing that died in this mission was my excitement. Now we're leveling up. In theory, this should feel rewarding. In reality, it's like putting sprinkles on dry toast. You gain XP for everything stunning enemies, breathing near collectibles, probably for existing too. And once that bar fills, you can dump points into Harry's abilities. 1 stronger spells, slightly more accurate aim, marginally better defense. Too bad, it all feels the same. I put my first point into spell strength. Did I feel stronger? No. Did I pretend then to notice a difference to justify this grind? Yes. This is the moment where the RPG illusion cracks like a cursed wand. Still, it's technically progression. You're investing in a character that will never thank you, in a game that will never get a sequel, in a world where Ron still doesn't help you in combat. Trophy unlocked. 1 step closer to the platinum. 1 step further into denial. So I grinded a bit more, shot some goons, blew up a bookshelf or 2, and suddenly, boom, level 3. Now, normally, a level up should feel like you just got promoted in a guild or unlocked a new dragon spell. But here, it's like your gym membership just auto-renewed. I still felt just as weak. The spells still felt like I was tossing angry post-it notes at enemies. The enemies still shrugged off my attacks like they were wearing plot armor. But hey, stats don't lie. Level 3 means I'm 2 better than I was 10 minutes ago. So that's progress, I guess. The only thing truly growing is my tolerance for disappointment. And my trophy count. 3 levels in under 30 minutes. At this rate, I'll be a god before dinner. Or at least a wizard with slightly improved aim and a burning sense of regret. Ah yes, creature. The charming, lovable house elf who sounds like he gargles gravel and passive aggressiveness. This mission wants me to make peace with him, which in game terms translates to walk around a grimy house while creature mumbles trauma in your general direction. Eventually, we find some hidden dirt on a shady wizard, Reg Catermole, or something equally forgettable. There's a cutscene, there's exposition. There's the vague implication that something important happened. Spoiler, nothing important happened. But the game disagrees, so it hands you a trophy. The real enemy here wasn't the criminal we uncovered, it was the pacing. This whole mission is just fetch quests in a house with more cobwebs than combat. Still, ding goes the bronze, and onward we trudge, the first major kill count milestone. 100 wizards turned into unconscious corpses by the power of light stunning. Honestly, I'm not even sure if anyone dies in this game. You just sort of flick them away like magical flies, combat has zero weight. Every duel feels like a pillow fight with invisible bricks. You shoot, you strafe, you hide behind identical crates over and over until the trophy pops. But despite the monotony, this one feels significant. Not fun, but significant. You've now officially assaulted a triple-digit number of people, and the ministry still hasn't sent a letter. You monster. Level 6. By now, I had upgraded Harry's spells enough to make them marginally less pathetic. Incendio now feels like a lighter that won't go out in the wind. Stupefy might actually break someone's nose now instead of their attention span. But let's not kid ourselves, leveling in this game is about as impactful as rearranging your sock drawer. Yes, you do it. Yes, there's progress. But no one's writing home about it. Still, the bar moved, a number ticked up, trophy earned, and I'm 6 levels deeper into this lukewarm cauldron of mediocrity. Now here's where the game tries to get spicy. You're in a dragon's lair, you wake it up, you run like hell. Sounds awesome, right? Wrong. It's a glorified quick time sequence where Harry sprints like a man being chased by student loans. The dragon, somewhere between Majestic and PS2 polygonal nightmare, crashes through walls, spits fire, and roars with the audio fidelity of a dying vacuum cleaner. You don't fight it. You just run, hide, and occasionally press buttons at the right time to avoid getting flambied. Still, credit where it's due, this mission had energy, which is more than I can say for most of the game. So I'll take the bronze with a side of mild adrenaline. And move on, 50 quick stunts. Sounds cool, but here's the trick. Quick just means spamming the same button combo faster than your brain can process what's happening. This trophy required the reflexes of a caffeinated raccoon and the patience of a saint. You roll, aim, stun, roll again, repeat. Enemies fall like stun dominoes. And for what? A silver trophy that pretends this was a test of skill when in reality it was just thumb endurance. By the end, I wasn't even aiming. I was just pointing vaguely in the direction of evil and hoping Harry's wand had auto-lock enabled. 50 stunned enemies later, the game says, nice shot. I say, where's my aspirin? Now this one, I kinda liked. You cast Confundo on an enemy and they start attacking their buddies like they just found out who ate their sandwich. It's like playing Hitman if Agent 47 used mind, control and a teen voice crack. The game barely tells you how to do it. So I just started experimenting during a fight, and when it worked, glorious. One confused Death Eater doing the work of 5 useless allies. It's the only time I felt clever, manipulative, powerful. In other words, it's the opposite of how I feel playing the rest of this game. This should have been a tense infiltration. Instead, it's just another corridor shootout with bonus pink furniture. You sneak, or more accurately, stumble into the ministry. Everything's red, tinted and full of paranoia. Feels like someone tried to turn 1984 into a Saturday morning cartoon. You burst into the courtroom, throw spells around like a magical John Wick, and escape just as quickly. Nobody asks questions, nobody cares, and the trophy pops as if to say, congrats. You stormed the fascist courtroom and got out without needing a lawyer. Good, because at this point, I'm definitely suing this game for emotional damages. At this point in the game, I stopped seeing enemies as people. They were just walking bags of XP with wands. I had stunned 250 of them, which sounds noble, but felt more like an overworked security guard at a wizard rave. The combat loop hadn't changed. Find cover. Spam spell. Like a broken record. Repeat until the room is silent and full of twitching bodies. And let's be honest, none of this felt heroic. I wasn't protecting anyone. I was farming human beings like a cursed potato field. The trophy pops as if the game is proud of me. You've beaten 250 wizards into unconsciousness. Congrats. Thanks. Deathly Hallows, my hands are numb, my soul is cracked, and my kill count is starting to look like a Dark Lord Reisame, 10 levels deep, a full 10. And yet I still felt like I was casting spells with a wet sock. Every upgrade point made a tiny difference, sure. Maybe my shield lasted a fraction longer, maybe my stun reached 1 extra centimeter, but fundamentally, I still felt like a wizard in a shooter's skin suit that didn't fit. Level 10 should be a milestone, a moment of pride, but here it just reminded me how far I had to go. I'm halfway to max level, and the only thing that's truly increased is my tolerance for disappointment. 10 down, no turning back now. I hate spiders, real ones, fake ones, digital ones. So naturally, this game throws 35 of them at me in a dark forest with Harry screaming, Protego, like he's trying to cast it on himself emotionally. The Acromantula are massive, twitchy, and full of glitchy animations. They leap, they spit, they don't understand personal space. And killing 35 of them, that's not a side quest, that's a trauma test. Ron shows up in this mission, but not to help, he just watches. Occasionally he says something encouraging like, cheerful, Harry, while I'm being mauled by nightmare fuel. Eventually, I cleared the forest, my one hand was sore, my sanity was cracked. But the trophy dinged, and that made it worth it. Ron might not deserve saving, but the silver trophy sure as hell did. This one sounds simple, use every spell once. But the game gives you zero feedback. Did that last Confundo count? Was that Expelliarmus or just Harry sneezing aggressively? So I made a checklist, cast each spell in the most chaotic situations I could find, and hoped the game was paying attention. There's no flair here. No flashy moment where Harry yells, Avada Kedavra, and everyone applauds. It's just a series of awkward moments where you try to figure out whether Umpidamenta did anything besides tickle the AI. After far too long and several identical fights later, the trophy pops. And in that moment, I realized something tragic. I had become intimately familiar with the entire spell system, and none of it felt magical. This is one of those missions that's supposed to build lore. You meet a student, you meet a goblin, they say cryptic things. The game hopes you care. Spoiler, I didn't. The goblin has the charisma of wet cardboard, and the student sounds like they recorded their lines from a basement in 2010. They talk about Gringotts or some key or betrayal. I don't know. I was mentally uninstalling the game mid-dialogue, but I powered through. Why? Because the trophy was sitting there, waiting at the end of the scene like a stale cookie. You don't want it, but you're hungry and it's there. So I endured the exposition, listened to voice acting that could make a Dementor cry, and watched the trophy appear. Another bronze. Another meaningless meeting with characters I will absolutely forget by the next mission. Let's talk about Protego, the shield spell. The game says it deflects enemy spells. What it doesn't tell you is that half the time it also deflects fun. You raise it, you wait, and hope the enemy shoots something shiny enough to bounce back. Do it right, and boom, you look like a magical GD. Do it wrong, and you just stand there awkwardly, wand raised like you're trying to hail a taxi in a combat zone. So I farmed it 20 times, over and over, like a wizard pretending to be a mirror. Eventually, I started timing it perfectly. Reflexes honed by repetition, despair, and one too many failed spell counters. The trophy pops, I exhale. I had mastered the art of saying no to damage. Now, if only I could Protego my way out of finishing the rest of this game 15 levels deep. Harry is now a seasoned killer with more upgrades than common sense. My health bar is longer, my spells are stronger. But does it feel good? Not really. I'm still shooting sparks out of a twig, still hiding behind cover like I'm afraid of commitment, still fighting the same enemies over and over again like it's Groundhog Day at a wand convention. The leveling system is a slow, joyless march. It's like eating dry cereal with a fork. Sure, you can do it, but why would you? Still, the trophy appears, a silver one this time. As if to say, you're not done suffering yet, but at least you're suffering efficiently. At this point, I wasn't fighting enemies anymore. I was harvesting souls for the Platinum Gods. 500. That's not a number. That's a body count. That's an entire Quidditch stadium's worth of unconscious wizards, all taken down by one emotionally unstable teenager with a one spell arsenal. Nothing new happens between kill 250 and kill 500. The AI doesn't get smarter. The battles don't change. You just run the same corridors, cast the same spells, and watch the same ragdolls flop like rejected crash test dummies. When the trophy finally popped, I stared at it in silence. There was no joy, no excitement, just the grim realization that I had become what I once mocked. A full-time, mass stunning wand goblin. At this rate, Azkaban wouldn't even hold me. This sounds poetic. The place it all began. In reality, it's just an icy hike through some random woods while Harry mutters about clues and feelings. The snow section is atmospheric, I guess. But the pacing here is glacial. Pun very much intended. You slowly trudge through white nothingness looking for a thing the game never clearly defines. Eventually, you stumble upon a hidden entrance or a memory or some kind of plot device the developers forgot to explain. Then the trophy appears. And you wonder, was there even a secret? Or did I just find a rock with better storytelling than the last 3 missions? Either way, I'm cold, confused, and still no closer to caring. This is the game's way of saying, Ron bailed, he rage quits the team, and you, the player, get rewarded with a bronze for being emotionally abandoned. This mission is all dialogue. Harry whines, Hermione cries, the tent flaps in the wind like it's sad too. There's no combat, no puzzles, no gameplay. Just feelings. The devs clearly wanted this to be a big emotional moment. But after hundreds of copy-paste shootouts, I had the emotional range of a stale biscuit. All I could think was, if Ron's gone, who's gonna do nothing during battles now? Still, I sat through the scene. I watched Harry's animated pain. The trophy popped. Congrats. You've officially been ghosted by a ginger, a rare trophy. Not because it's hard, but because it requires friends who played this game. So I did what every platinum hunter does when the servers are empty and humanity has moved on. Say, I created an alternate PSN account, played a challenge on that one, and then compared my scores. It felt like cheating if cheating involved twice the effort and none of the payoff. But the game doesn't care. The moment it sees 2 scores in the same universe, the trophy is yours. Friendly reverse? Nah, this was just me versus my own shattered expectations. Level 20. The top, the final form. The moment when Harry stops being a student and becomes slightly more annoying with a wand. You unlock this by pushing through the combat grind like a cursed accountant filing enemy corpses as XP receipts. And what do you get in return? Not a flashy spell, not a cool cutscene, just a menu that says you maxed out, great job, here's your gold trophy. Now go cry, no payoff, no narrative change, just slightly faster cooldowns and the creeping dread that you've wasted your youth on the worst magical shooter ever made. But hey, gold is gold. And now Harry is statistically unstoppable, emotionally fragile and spiritually broken. Like me. This was the moment the game tried to get deep. Like, face your fears deep. Except the darkness within Harry turns out to be a weird floating Dementor chase that looks like it was rendered on a microwave. The mission is slow and ominous, and you're meant to walk toward a glowing orb while shadowy voices whisper garbage like, you are alone, and Hay's gone. It's like therapy but with worse voice acting. At the end, you overcome the darkness by holding forward and surviving a few spooky illusions. No combat, no puzzles, just walking and feeling vaguely uncomfortable. The trophy pops. You feel nothing. The darkness remains. Here we go, Detective Harry. This mission makes you feel like you're solving something. You look at magical visions. You follow trails of light. You pretend that these narrative breadcrumbs are meaningful. But really, it's just glorified fetch quest logic. Go here. Watch a memory. Go there. Connect 2 obvious dots. Hermione says something clever. Trophy appears. It tries to be profound, but the only thing I discovered was how little I cared about the actual mystery. Still, it's a trophy. And by this point, that's the only clue I'm following. You meet a traitor. They trade information. You act like you're surprised, even though the writing has all the subtlety of a howler. There's tension. Music swells. Harry gets angry. It's supposed to be dramatic, but it lands like a damp towel. You already know betrayal is coming because the mission title tells you. It's the narrative equivalent of a magician yelling, I'm hiding the coin behind your ear. Before the trick. Still, betrayal happens. Answers are traded. The game pretends this is deep, but the only betrayal that truly hurts is mine. I betrayed my own free time for this. Did it. I crossed the threshold, 1,000 enemies down. I have now single-handedly wiped out the entire magical resistance. The ministry should have just sent me alone with a stick and a grudge. This trophy isn't just a number. It's a cry for help. You don't fight 1,000 enemies in a game unless something has gone horribly wrong. At this point, combat was muscle memory. My fingers knew the routine. My brain had checked out 300 enemies ago. The gameplay loop had consumed me and I had become efficient. A rare gold pops. And with it, my soul flickers like a dying Lumos. This is it. The final moments. There's sacrifice. There's tension. Someone dies, I think. Honestly, it's hard to tell because the emotional weight is buried under shaky animation and monotone voice acting. You survive. The team limps away. The cutscene tries to punch you in the heart, but misses and hits your shoulder instead. The message is clear you're alive, but you lost someone. Maybe? Probably? Doesn't matter, because right after, the real war begins. Hard mode. You'd think it means tougher enemies, smarter AI, more tension. Nope, just more health bars, more damage, and the same dumb enemies with slightly angrier spells. The real hard part was staying awake. But I did it. I powered through all missions on hard difficulty. No game overs, no rage quits. Just numb repetition and a growing need for therapy. The trophy appears, a rare gold. It doesn't feel earned, it feels endured. But it's done. This sounds like a challenge, doesn't it? 5 stars on a hard challenge? Like something requiring reflexes, precision, timing, reality. It's basically score farming in a stale shooting gallery, like a broken NPC caught in a loop. Pick the right challenge. One with tight corridors, fast enemy spawns, and generous point multipliers. Then spam spells like a caffeinated goblin until the UI gives up and hands you 5 stars out of pity. The trick is to chain combos, don't die, and pretend you're having fun. That last one's the real challenge. Eventually, the stars align, the game reluctantly hands over the trophy, and you exhale, not out of joy, but relief that it's one step closer to the end. This trophy requires you to use actual tactics, which is dangerous in this game. You have to lift an object with Wingardium Leviosa and use it as cover, not just to look cool, but to literally block enemy spells. Sounds neat, right? In execution, it's chaos. You're dragging crates across a battlefield, desperately trying to wedge them between yourself and a Death Eater while he pelts you with magic like a drunk at a fireworks show. I tried it multiple times. Most of the time, the crate flew off into space or Harry lifted it at the wrong angle and took a face full of dark magic anyway. Eventually, I got the timing right. Spells bounced off the crate. The game acknowledged it. Trophy unlocked. Honestly, it's one of the rare moments in this game that actually felt clever. I hated it slightly less than the rest of every single challenge. The online mode in this game is like a haunted house, abandoned, full of echoes, and a little sad. But for this trophy, I had to go back and post results to every challenge mission as if anyone, anywhere was waiting for them. I blitzed through them on easy mode. speed ran some, stumbled through others, and forced the game to record each result like I was checking in at a magical DMV. There were no rivals, no comparisons. Just me, my ghost account, and a leaderboard that hasn't been touched since the PS3 was relevant. Trophy pops. My digital legacy is now forever tied to a dead online mode in a forgotten game. This is what immortality looks like. Dusty, empty, and unrequested. You'd think potions would matter in a Harry Potter game. They don't. They're basically glorified health packs with fancy names. Drink one, heal. Drink another, heal again. Try a third. Slightly different color, same effect. To get this trophy, I had to force myself to take potions I didn't need in situations that didn't matter. I was chugging magical juice in the middle of easy fights just to tick a box. No visual feedback, no confirmation. Just trust that the game's backend is whispering. Ah yes, he drank the blue one. Good, that's progress. When it finally popped, I didn't feel experienced. I felt like a wizard with an expensive P schedule. Stealth. In this game, let me explain how stealth works in Deathly Hallows Part 1. You crouch, you walk slowly, you get spotted anyway. Start over. So getting 50 stealth stuns meant forcing the cloak mechanic to behave. Which it didn't. Most of the time, the enemies spotted me through walls, floors, and sheer spite. Eventually, I found the exploit, small maps, easy AI, and total silence. I'd cloak up, sneak behind an enemy, and stun. Then rinse and repeat. 50 times. 50 awkward ambushes with 0 satisfaction and 0 sound effects. The trophy pops. Harry is now a master of stealth. Which is funny, because the game still makes him clomp around like a sleepwalking horse. Full completion. I found every single password. Was there a reward? A final message? A special code? No, just a trophy. No fanfare, no radio show. Just silence and me staring at a lifeless screen wondering what it all meant. It meant nothing, but it's one more step to platinum. And that's enough, 100% Quibbler. Do I know what any of them said? No. Did I care? Also no. Did I spend 3 hours crawling through identical corridors to find them? Absolutely. Trophy unlocked. One more nail in this coffin. I now officially subscribe to a fictional newspaper that hasn't published a single meaningful story in this entire game. I don't know who edited this game's content, but they clearly thought collecting every newspaper in a magical war zone was priority 21. Well, it's done. Platinum is now inevitable. I had to go back and replay the game on easy. You'd think it would be boring, but honestly, it was kind of therapeutic. Enemies die faster. Harry shouts less. The missions feel shorter. My patience hurts less. It's still bad. But it's bad at 1.5x speed, like watching a train wreck on fast forward. The bronze pops. I'm almost done. Replaying the entire game on medium felt like returning to the scene of a crime. Only now with déjà vu and a checklist. It was the same game, same bugs, same spells, same enemies. The only thing that had changed was me. I was now broken, hollow, tired, and 3 playthroughs deep into the same recycled hell. Silver trophy. Don't. And then it happened. The platinum, no fanfare, no confetti. Just a single ding. And the screen confirming what I already knew. I had just platinumed one of the most soul-draining Harry Potter games ever made. Not because I loved it. Not because I enjoyed it. But because I said I would. Because pain is temporary, but platinum is forever.
There it is. And now, Merlin third class candidate. Platinum trophy. Let's get it.
I don't know what I learned from this. Maybe perseverance. Maybe madness. Maybe that not all magic is worth casting. But I do know this Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 on PS3 is done. Buried. Platinum. And you've never have to play it. I took the hit. I cast the spells. I survived the boredom. You get to watch the summary. You're welcome. You missed your achievement. Signing off.
Now, this game I have to do. Oh no. I hate my life. Fuck off! Oh no! Need for Speed Rivals! That's even worse! That's even worse. Oh my god. Now I have to do Need for Speed Rivals.
Yeah, you can't back out now.
No, I can't back out now.